There's a rule most people never talk about, not because it's complicated, but because it's uncomfortable. It's not about titles, not about status, not about being in charge. It's about ownership. When everything goes wrong, when the plan collapses, when the team breaks, there's only one question that separates leaders from followers. Do you take ownership or do you make excuses? That's leadership rule number 5. Step 1. Discipline over motivation. Motivation is a spark. It burns bright. It feels powerful, and it pushes you forward for a moment. But the truth is, motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. It shows up when conditions are good, when the sun's out, when everything feels right. The moment things get dark, the moment fatigue sets in, motivation disappears. And that's where discipline steps in. Discipline doesn't care about how you feel. It doesn't rely on inspiration, comfort, or convenience. Discipline is the engine that keeps moving when everything else wants to stop. It's not about emotion, it's about decision. The decision to act even when you don't want to. The decision to keep pushing when every part of you is screaming to quit. Most people wait for motivation. They wait for that perfect moment when they feel ready. Leaders don't wait. Leaders move, with or without the feeling, because they understand one simple fact. Motivation is temporary, but discipline is permanent. It's the muscle that grows stronger every time you choose action over comfort. It's the quiet force behind every consistent victory. Motivation is loud. It gets you excited. But discipline is silent. It doesn't talk. It doesn't need to. It just executes day after day, moment after moment, without applause, without recognition, without reward. Discipline doesn't negotiate with weakness. It doesn't seek permission from comfort. It thrives in repetition. In the early mornings, the late nights, the lonely hours when no one is watching. It's the reason the leader gets up when the follower stays down. It's the reason progress is made when everyone else is stuck in the cycle of excuses. Discipline is not built overnight. It's forged through failure, frustration, and fatigue. Every time you feel tired and move anyway, that's discipline being formed. Every time you face doubt but still act, that's discipline becoming who you are. Motivation can give you a push, but discipline builds the path you walk on. The truth is, discipline is freedom. It gives you control when everything else feels uncertain. It removes emotion from execution. It transforms chaos into clarity. A leader who lives by discipline doesn't depend on good days to perform well. They perform because it's what they do, every day, no matter what. That's the difference between those who dream of results and those who create them. Motivation starts the journey, discipline finishes it. Step 2, lead yourself first. Before you can lead anyone else, you have to lead yourself. That's the foundation, that's the starting point. Leadership doesn't begin with a title, a rank, or a position. It begins with self-control. If you can't command your own mind, your own emotions, your own actions, you'll never be able to command others. Because leadership isn't about telling people what to do. It's about showing them what's possible. It's about living in a way that earns respect without demanding it. Every word you speak, every decision you make, every moment you show up or fail to show up, it all reflects your ability to lead yourself first. The greatest leaders don't lead from authority. They lead from example. They don't wait for others to move. They move first. To lead yourself means holding yourself to a higher standard, even when no one else does. It means setting expectations for yourself that others might call unreasonable and meeting them anyway. It means being brutally honest with yourself about your weaknesses and doing something about them instead of hiding behind excuses. Most people love the idea of leadership because it sounds powerful, but real leadership starts with discipline, humility, and self-awareness. It's waking up early when your body wants to sleep. It's staying calm when your emotions want to explode. It's doing what's right when doing what's easy would go unnoticed. Leading yourself first means becoming your own commander, not your own enemy. It's the ability to give yourself an order and follow it. You can't lead a team through chaos if you can't manage your own chaos. You can't demand accountability if you avoid responsibility in your personal life. Every time you break a promise to yourself, every time you choose comfort over commitment, you weaken your ability to lead others. Leadership starts inside. It starts with consistency, with small acts of discipline repeated over time until they become part of who you are. People don't follow words. They follow strength, clarity, and integrity. They follow the one who walks the path, not just talks about it. When you master yourself, you gain control over your actions, your reactions, and your direction. That control becomes influence. That influence becomes trust. And trust is the core of leadership. Leading yourself first is not an option. It's the price of being a leader. Step 3, accountability is power. Accountability isn't punishment. It's power. It's the act of standing in front of the mirror and saying, "This is on me." Most people run from that moment. They look for someone else to blame, some excuse to hide behind, some story that makes failure easier to accept. But leaders don't run from accountability. They face it head on because they understand that taking ownership gives them control. When you accept responsibility for everything that happens under your watch, you take back the power to change it. You stop being a victim of circumstance and become the architect of results. Accountability is not about guilt. It's about growth. It's about recognizing that every mistake, every setback, every shortcoming is a chance to learn, adjust, and improve. The weak avoid accountability because it exposes their flaws. The strong embrace it because it sharpens their edge. When you say, "This is my fault," you are not admitting defeat. You're claiming authority. You're saying, "I control the outcome." That's leadership. The willingness to own failure is what separates those who lead from those who follow. Accountability requires courage, the courage to face the truth without hiding behind ego. It forces you to stop pointing fingers and start finding solutions. Every time you take ownership, you send a message to your team, your peers, and yourself that no matter what happens, you are in control of your response. You can't always control the situation, but you can always control your accountability. True accountability is not just about words. It's about action. It's showing up when things go wrong. It's admitting mistakes before anyone else points them out. It's fixing problems quietly instead of seeking praise loudly. A leader who takes accountability sets the standard for everyone around them. They build trust, respect, and loyalty because people see that when things go wrong, they don't run. They stand firm. Accountability turns chaos into order, mistakes into momentum, and failure into fuel. It transforms leadership from a role into a responsibility. Without it, teams collapse, trust dies, and progress stops. With it, even the hardest situations become opportunities to grow stronger, smarter, and sharper. Accountability is the force that keeps leaders grounded, disciplined, and unbreakable when everything else begins to fall apart. Step 4. Calm under chaos. When everything starts falling apart, when the noise gets louder, when the pressure builds to the point where most people break, that's when true leadership is revealed. Anyone can act composed when things are going right, but when chaos hits, emotions take over, fear takes control, and clarity disappears. That's when leaders separate themselves from everyone else. Being calm under chaos doesn't mean you don't feel pressure. It means you don't let it control you. It's the ability to slow down your thoughts when the world around you is spinning out of control. It's looking at the storm and refusing to be swept away by it, because panic never solves problems. Fear never creates order. Only calm does. Calm is where logic lives. Calm is where strategy begins. Calm is what allows a leader to see solutions when everyone else sees disaster. Chaos tests your discipline. It tests your patience. It exposes the difference between emotional reactions and controlled responses. The untrained mind reacts. It panics. It blames. It spirals. But the trained mind pauses. It observes. It evaluates. Then it acts. Not emotionally, but decisively. That's the kind of calm that comes from preparation and control. You can't fake it. You can't pretend to be calm under chaos if you've never built the habits that create it. It's earned through repetition, through exposure, through discipline forged in uncomfortable moments. The leader who stays calm is not the one who feels no fear, it's the one who's mastered it. Fear doesn't disappear, it gets managed. The mind still feels the tension, but the leader channels it into focus. Every deep breath, every measured word, every controlled movement becomes a weapon against panic. People look to the leader when things go wrong. They watch your face, your tone, your body language. If you panic, they panic. If you remain calm, they find their footing. Leadership isn't about removing chaos. It's about bringing order to it. When the pressure is highest, that's when your composure matters most. Calm under chaos is the anchor that holds the team steady when the storm hits. It's not about pretending the situation isn't serious. It's about refusing to be ruled by it. Because in the middle of confusion, fear, and uncertainty, the leader who stays calm doesn't just survive the chaos, they lead through it. Step 5. Consistency wins wars. Success is not born in a single moment of brilliance. It is not the result of one perfect decision or one inspired action. True success, the kind that lasts, the kind that builds empires and leads teams to victory, comes from consistency. Small, repeated actions day after day build momentum that no single act of genius can match. Most people look for shortcuts, for bursts of effort, for instant results. But the truth is that results compound over time. Leadership is built in the mundane, in the routine, in the relentless pursuit of excellence through repetition. Every time you show up when it's hard, every time you execute when no one is watching, every time you push forward when excuses are tempting, you are winning small battles that lead to the ultimate victory. Consistency is not about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about committing to a process and sticking to it, regardless of setbacks, fatigue, or distraction. The world rewards those who show up day after day with focus and determination. A single act of heroism might impress, but it rarely lasts. A disciplined routine, a relentless drive, a refusal to quit, that's what separates the leader from the follower. The leader understands that wars aren't won in a day. They are won over weeks, months, and years of disciplined effort. The leader understands that consistency is a form of leverage. Every small action compounds, builds credibility, builds skill, and builds trust within the team. Consistency creates predictability, and predictability creates reliability, the foundation of any successful leadership. In the heat of battle, whether literal or metaphorical, consistency is what carries teams through the chaos. It's the repeated effort that forms habit, the repeated discipline that forms character, and the repeated action that forms results. Teams follow leaders who demonstrate consistent behavior because they know what to expect. Inconsistent leaders create confusion, doubt, and instability. But a leader who consistently acts with integrity, focus, and resilience inspires confidence, loyalty, and commitment. Consistency is not flashy. It's not glamorous. It doesn't get applause. But it wins wars because it builds an unshakable foundation. It turns ordinary actions into extraordinary results. It's the quiet, relentless march forward day after day, regardless of obstacles, setbacks, or fatigue that ultimately defines success. Step 6. Lead in silence. True leadership is rarely loud. It's not measured by how many speeches you give, how many orders you bark, or how many people notice your presence. Leadership in its purest form is silent. It's in the actions, not the words. It's in the example you set when no one is watching, the standards you uphold when there's no applause, and the discipline you maintain when recognition is absent. The world loves noise, and many leaders mistake volume for influence. But influence that relies on noise is fragile, temporary, and shallow. Real leadership doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't seek validation or approval. It builds trust and respect quietly, steadily, and relentlessly. Leading in silence is about being present, being disciplined, and being accountable, even when no one else notices, because the impact of true leadership is measured not in applause, but in results. Leading in silence also requires humility. The silent leader does not need credit for their work because their focus is on the mission, not on ego. They understand that leadership is not about them. It's about the team, the goal, and the outcome. Every action, every decision, every sacrifice is made with purpose, not for recognition. While others may boast, complain, or demand attention, the silent leader moves forward methodically. They set standards and enforce them consistently, and they inspire through action, not through rhetoric. People follow this kind of leader instinctively because they recognize strength, integrity, and clarity. Leadership in silence creates an environment where accountability thrives, where discipline becomes contagious, and where results emerge naturally from the collective effort of the team, guided by an example that never wavers. Silence also fosters focus. In a world full of distractions, the ability to act without fanfare, to maintain clarity under pressure, and to execute without the need for validation is a weapon. Silent leaders conserve their energy for action, for planning, for solving problems. They don't waste time on politics, drama, or empty noise. They understand that influence is built through reliability, consistency, and quiet strength, not through shouting or seeking attention. When the situation demands, the silent leader speaks with precision, decisiveness, and authority. And those words carry weight because they are rare, purposeful, and grounded in action. Leading in silence is a choice, a discipline, and a strategy that ensures influence is lasting, trust is deep, and the mission succeeds without the distractions of ego or applause. Own your actions. Lead yourself first. Stay disciplined, stay accountable, and stay calm. Lead quietly, act consistently, and let your results speak louder than words. That is true leadership.